Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm very excited about our next guest because they were just at Punk Rock Bowling, which is a badass festival that I was at too. We were going to connect there, but it's so busy and hectic that it's better that we connect here anyway. So let's welcome to the show, Teen Mortgage. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, except I'm not at Punk Rock Bowling anymore because you know how it goes. You leave some of that stuff and you're like go on the downward depression of being withdrawals from festivals.
Oh, the post-festival blues for sure.
100%.
Yeah,
So
we didn't have time to lament ours. We were just like right back on the road. So
yeah, this was like I had my only first week off, and then so yeah, I have a little of that downtime, and then I'll be going to a bunch more. But that was like my last one, final run of like 2 months of every weekend. So
oh wow,
it's nice to have a little break because, like you, I go around every place. But the difference is I'm not sweating it out on stage because it was super freaking hot there. I have to give you kudos to playing on stage in Las Vegas because it was brutal. It seemed like every day it got hotter and hotter.
Yeah. I was dying up there. I made the mistake of putting sunscreen on my face. And I was so bad. It was like going all up in my eyes, and I was like trying to play the songs, just like I'm like blinded. It was horrible.
That's the worst part right there. Like when you do that, because you almost have to have the sunscreen, or else you're going to be in pain later. But then it just burns the hell out of your eyes, and there's nothing you can really do.
Yeah, I was just trying to power through the songs.
Exactly. And I like to paint this because I think people that go to festivals, go to concerts, that when it's hot, I don't think they realize how much more brutal it is to be up on stage than down in the audience. Yeah,
like I don't know. It's like Vegas is just so hot. Like I'm sure it was hot out there. I was surprised people were even like moshing to us because it was in the middle of it was like 4:00 in the afternoon.
Right.
We got the polite kind of aerobics mosh, you know. Everyone was doing their best to keep it going, but not like die.
Yeah, exactly. And I live in South Florida when I'm here, and I was freaking hot in Vegas. Okay, like I was ready to come home to Florida to cool off. Which that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a different kind of heat. It's not that like sweltering heat. It just takes all the water out of your body.
100%. Like I was standing there watching, like people they weren't hydrated, and they should have been hydrated a lot more. You don't even realize till it's too late. And people were like out, gone, so, but that being said, it is one of the best freaking festivals in the respect of that it's just different from all the other festivals. It's like my youngest daughter, she always asks me every festival I go, are you excited? And I'm like, I don't know if excited is the word for it. And you understand what I mean. It's like, it's fun and it's great. But when you do it every weekend, I don't know if excitement is the word. But then when you do something like Punk Rock Bowling, then it's exciting because, man, they just take over all of downtown Las Vegas. You got all those, the festival, of course, but then all the club shows, the bowling, and it's just a whole different experience than most festivals. How do you feel as an artist being there?
Yeah, it was amazing. Just total vibe. That was the second time we've ever played Vegas, so it was like it was very surreal to be kind of like we played, and then 999 played, and then Madball played, and then Gorilla Biscuits played. It was like,
right?
And then the Descendants played. It was just like, it was like a dream for sure.
I know, and it's really cool what they do there that they don't do at other festivals, that no bands ever overlap. So I think that's great for the bands, because like you guys as a band, you get the whole crowd, opposed to somebody having to make a choice between you and somebody else playing at the same time as you.
Yeah, at least on the festival stages, it's like that. The club shows are there's a little bit of overlap, but like that's a different thing.
Yeah,
Did you pick it out any of the club shows?
I did. I was at the Subhumans one, and I was at the Dwarves one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think we made it out. I made it out to see Guitar Wolf. I've been trying to see that band for like 20 years.
See, like that's the cool thing about festivals like this, because that's what happens right there. You get to see bands that you thought you'd never see.
They played at like almost 1 a.m. I was like, we're pretty done, but I was like, I've waited 20 years for this.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I went to the Subhumans one, and I saw their set at the festival. The beauty for me is I miss a lot of sets at the festival because I'm doing interviews. So then the club shows, I can see sets. But I saw their set at the festival. I interviewed Dick, and then I went to a club show, and I just couldn't get enough of it. And what's cool about the club shows is it's a different vibe, obviously, because it's a club show. But then also it's a different set too. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. We got to see both Madball sets. We saw the club show, and that was crazy. And then Judge played, and that was like insane, because they're a rare one to see. They play too often.
Yeah, well, there you go. And that's something I noticed too about punk rock bowling throughout the years, is there's bands that don't play too often that play punk rock bowling. Or like, as an example, when the Specials headlined punk rock bowling, they played Ghost Town, and they never play that song live ever.
Oh, wow. That's sick.
Yeah, I was sitting there, I was like in shock at whether I was really hearing it correctly or if I was hallucinating, So, and it is like, it's a cool vibe with the people too. I think a lot of people don't realize that about the punk shows that are not punks, that it's just one big family, and there's no outsiders, there's no bull crap. Everybody's just, having a good time and avoiding all the bull crap that's in the outside world.
Yeah, for sure. There was definitely a lot of good pics on the Passed Out Punks Instagram page.
Nice.
Yeah, it was looking
and
great time.
Did you check out the swim parties? That's pretty wild too.
We played one. We played a club show with are you talking about, is that the same thing? Or?
No, they have a swim party from like 10 till 1 all 3 days, and it's at this rooftop pool. And
Homefront friends played that one.
Yeah. Which band?
Homefront.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I saw them. I was at that pool party.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Nice.
Oh yeah. And it's so funny because I don't know if you noticed, but they do like a circle pit in the pool.
Yeah.
And then they had people in rafts that they were like pretending like they're crowd surfing. So except they're in rafts.
Oh yeah, and it would have been sick to play one, but from what Homefront told us, you got to be there at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
They said we're friends and we never timed up with them because like they were just being run ragged, because I think they got off the plane to do their club show. So they got in with like maybe like an hour or something like that in order to like get their stuff together and then do their set. And then I saw Clint in the hallway, at like 2 a.m. and he was like, "We have a 7 a.m. call time." Like, I guess you're not going out to see Guitar Wolf? No.
Yeah, that is the bummer sometimes of being an artist, because like I think a lot of people don't realize, they think, oh, you get to see anybody you want, and it's the exact opposite. It's usually like you're lucky if you get to see a band, even if you're on tour with them sometimes.
Well, yeah, I mean, at this point now, it's like, we've like kind of leveled up, and like we've been touring so much, and we've been meeting so many people. I think it's one of the first times I've really been at a festival and been like, all of our buds are here, like we're kind of, we have our own like behind the scenes like friends group, and like I've never been to a festival where it's like I'm just bouncing around and be like, oh, I'm trying to catch like Rock Over the Crypt because Mario's playing drums for him, or like stuff like that. So that was a trip in itself. That's
pretty cool. I love that. And so you guys are back over in the UK for a tour now, correct?
Right, we're currently in Bradford,
nice.
in England, and it's like the curry capital of the UK. We just went for a curry, good times.
Nice. I didn't know that was the curry capital. There's a place when I go to download. There's a place I go to. I can't even remember the name, but man, it is one of the best Indian restaurants I've ever had. I think you guys over in the UK are known for that stuff, because every time I go over there, the food is so good compared to here for that type of food.
Totally. Yeah, I think there's definitely a bigger Indian community possibly in the UK. So like Bradford has a big Indian community, and like I'd never been either. So I was like, staying in Bradford. I was like, we're going for a curry for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. It was tight.
Yeah, no, we just had like a 13-hour travel day. That's why we had to postpone like a little bit.
Oh man, that's a rough day. See, that's why nobody likes to come to South Florida where I'm at, because this state, okay, so you got to drive 6 hours to get down this way, and then you got to drive another 6 hours to get out of the state to your next gig. So it's like, it doesn't make sense for a lot of bands.
Yeah, I think we hit every corner of the country except for like we didn't get into Florida over the last 2 years.
See,
we played Gainesville, but like that's pretty far north.
Oh yeah, that's like another world to where I am.
Yeah,
totally.
It's like my youngest daughter, she lives in the Panhandle, and I actually had to take a flight to get to her.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's like a 10 to 12 hour drive if there's no traffic.
The little puddle jumper.
Actually, there's this airline here. It's kind of like EasyJet, and I forget the name of the one in the UK that, the cheapy airlines. It's called Spirit over here.
Oh yeah.
So you can, like, I can take the flight from here to her round trip for like $80.
Yeah,
I would spend.
They charge you extra to wear your clothes.
Yes, that they do. So what I do is like, you're allowed your personal items. So I just pack all my shit in a backpack, man. I'm not, and I don't care. Like, it's like, I don't need a bunch of stuff to go up there. And I'm not, you spend more on checking luggage than you do the flight. It's weird.
Yeah.
And carry on.
You usually try to carry on wherever you go, but like when you're doing the travel like we do, it's like we always have to check gear now.
Mm-hmm.
So like we got to show up extra early, make sure our stuff gets on the plane, and it's the whole thing. So
have you had any horror stories with that yet? Because I know a lot of bands that have.
Nope.
Not with gear.
Nice.
With gear. We had some immigration issues. It's like trying to get it back into the country.
Yeah, that's always fun. I remember one time I was it? I think it was either Download or Bloodstock. I couldn't remember which one last year.
Yeah.
And I had an interview with Gwar, and they were late because of the flights and stuff like that. And the airlines lost all their crap. Now imagine a band like Gwar losing all their crap. Like they can't even do a show.
Yeah, it's like gonna pop up on eBay.
Yeah, exactly. So it was pretty funny though. Yeah, it was. I remember it was Download because we were sitting at the table. I was talking to this photographer that was across from me, and so Blothar came over to do the interview, but he wasn't in costume or anything, and nobody in the press tent knew who he
Yeah.
was that I was talking to. But he was being funny. He was kind of like hinting, like the photographer across from me had gummy bears. So he was messing with him and was like, hey, you, hey, what, let me have one of those gummy bears. And you could totally, if you were paying attention, but you wouldn't think of it, you would totally know it's supposed to be Blothar. But because you don't even realize that's what's going on,
that guy has a PhD, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I was like, one time we were at the dime bag thing that they did every year.
Like Dime Fest or something like that.
Yeah, Dime Bash.
Dime Bash. There you go.
And so I was hanging out with them there, but nobody knew it was them really, except artists did, but everybody else that was there didn't. And so I looked at them and I'm like, I can understand why you're wearing those costumes. You look a lot better.
Fair enough.
So how did this happen that now you're playing with Smashing Pumpkins and Weezer, right?
That's right.
Yep.
So how did that happen? Because that's a pretty cool trio right there.
Just got a text from the management one day. It was like real casual. And they just said, we didn't believe it. Like it was like radio silence because it was like, what do you mean? They text us, you got Weezer and the Smashing Pumpkins. And I was like, what do you mean? Like you got us a vinyl? Like and then I waited. I didn't respond, and then someone else responded, and it was like it hasn't clicked with me still yet,
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna fully come in until we walk into one of the arenas and just hear that sound of an empty arena.
Right? It might just not even sink in until after it's over, and then you'll be like, "Was that real?"
Yeah. I mean, we're doing a lot of that these days. It's been a lot of like really surreal moments, especially in the last like year.
Nice.
But yeah, it's like the time it happened, and even now, it's like we put out music through like a DIY label, and we used another label as like a subsidiary of Trust to like do our distribution. But we're essentially an unsigned band. So like our management's like, yeah, this is like unheard of that a band like that's unsigned is like opening for arenas with those bands.
Did they have any idea how that happened? Did like Billy Corgan just like say, man, this band's really freaking good?
Pretty much. That's what we've heard. Yeah. Billy Corgan was like, yeah, I want these guys.
Yeah. Wow. How does that feel?
Well, they needed bands. The booking agencies laid out bands that were options, and they picked us out of that.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're like, for real? I actually used his he has like a Big Muff pedal that he did, off amp Big Muff.
Right.
I'm using that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. I only bought that last year. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, see, that's pretty cool, and it says a lot for those that have not heard your music or seen you live. That says a lot about how great you guys are, because when you have somebody iconic like that, it's like, I want you on tour with it. Because listen, bands when they bring you on tour, the bands they bring on tour could make the difference between negative feedback and positive feedback, regardless of who they are. So that says a lot, when a band like that picks you to come with them. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. We're definitely we're like, really? Us? Okay. If you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's an honor coming from like someone that has like a history of kind of like sticking to their own guns too, like artistically. Like I think Billy Corgan talks about how like he's like, yeah, because I was like goth before goth was like the cool thing to do.
Right. It's so funny too, because like I'm kind of like that too. Like I remember back in the day, because I come from the '80s scene, and I wore spikes when nobody was wearing spikes, and had a piercing in my ear when it didn't go much beyond that at that time. But if you had a piercing in your ear, like, oh my God. And, and as soon as everybody else started doing it, I like took the earring out, took the spikes off. I'm like, I'm not, now it's popular. I don't want to do it now.
Yeah. People change. I mean, you're still punk on the inside,
Exactly.
But
exactly.
everyone's got their own definition of it. But like, I think punk is up here, not what you're wearing all the time.
I'm glad you brought that up because it is so true. Punk is an attitude. It's more than just a music. It's more than just how you dress and all that. It's an attitude. It's funny you brought that up because, basically, I think it was when I was talking to Dick from the Subhumans. It was either him or Joe from Devo. They were saying the same thing. It was like punk has nothing to do with how you dress and all that stuff. It has everything to do with who you are and the attitude, like you're saying, what's up here for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we need that attitude more than ever in 2024. It kind of blows my mind that bands, what they were talking about back in the 80s and late 70s, they not only are talking about now, but even more. You would think by now, punk bands wouldn't have all this stuff to write about. You know what I mean?
Thing, it's like, given that the internet's kind of made the world smaller in a lot of ways, it's like you have so much more access to learning about all the different things that are happening in the world. It's like it's harder to keep stuff hidden now.
Yeah.
So if anything, it's like that we're still railing about some of the same stuff, where it's like you're more aware of anything that could be happening in the world as long as you're like tapped into the right channels. Like I would say it's it's inspiring when you see younger people that like tap into it, and then like as like an older person, it's like you're like it's a lot,
Yeah, you got a great point too, and I think back in the beginning of punk was the voice of all this kind of stuff because of what you're saying. And it's now anybody can really be the voice of all the negativity or the political stuff or anything like that because of that information, to your point.
Yeah.
Sure. So what else do you want to let the listeners know about that you have going on or anything they have to look out for? And also, tell them how to hit you up on socials, on the web, get all your, information on your tour dates, music, and most importantly, merch, because you have a cool merch store.
Yeah. We have a lot of stuff going on. It's like we, almost decision to rest, like what to start with first. So like we're out here for the arena tours with Smashing Pumpkins to Weezer, but we're doing our own headline tour on either side of it. Like we just finished up in Ireland. Now we're in the UK and we're doing dates on either side. And then after the arena, we have a few more UK dates. And then we finish out going across Northern Europe, which will be our first time on mainland Europe.
Nice.
Going to Paris, Netherlands, Germany. And that's just kind of like what we have for June. There's a couple things that are spicy that are going to happen in the summertime that we can't announce yet, but you can look out for those on our socials. In the fall, we're like just through the roof that we are going to be touring with this band called Death from Above 1979. I hope you've heard of them. They're like diehard fan of that band.
Nice.
So we're doing 2 legs of their 20th anniversary tour for Your Woman on a Machine. That's going to be happening in late September through November. We're playing 2 massive festivals in the U.S., Louder Than Life in Kentucky.
I'll be there.
Yeah, so we're
and
going to
you're
be there
playing
early.
Aftershock too, right?
Yeah, we're going to open that. So yeah, we're playing Aftershock as well. Yeah.
So you're going to love both those festivals. I do them every year for like, I don't know, 10, 15 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Aftershock is they're like 2 very different vibes, but Aftershock is also one of my favorite festivals because it's a cool vibe. The atmosphere in there, it's in a park with trees and stuff. So even though California is hot, there's lots of shade, but also the media areas combined with the, artist area, in a sense that we have this like open bar back there, and it just becomes this cool hangout for everybody.
Yep.
And then Louder Than Life does a similar thing too, but and Louder Than Life is just a badass festival, and I'm super excited. Okay, for me, I'm super excited for the return of Slayer at Louder Than Life.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be able to catch them at Aftershock. Louder Than Life, we have to start the Death from Above tour like the day after we play, so we get to hang out for like a couple hours, and we have to go back. Like, as much as that pains us, but stoked to be going and doing that tour too. So it's just we've been finding ourselves in positions where we have to like choose between two awesome things,
right?
Yeah. So yeah,
for me, Slayer's probably my all-time favorite. I was at their first gig ever,
Oh, wow.
and so I'm going to see them at Riot Fest, Louder Than Life, and Aftershock. And anybody that wants interviews during the Slayer set is out of luck.
Hell yeah.
Usually I'll be like, okay, I'll do it, type of thing. But, it's fucking Slayer 5 years later.
Yeah, I thought I missed my chance to see him, so I'm just absolutely stoked that I can catch him.
There you go. That'll be cool. Well, maybe we'll
plan, right? Like you go, it's our we're breaking up. This is our final shows, and then you come back and you go, this is our reunion show. This is the last show, and then another 5 years ago, this is our reunion show.
Well, you know what's interesting is there's talk that chatter, not from people in the industry, because nobody's going to say shit in the industry, but there's chatter that they're doing similar to what Pantera did. Like, it was just going to be a couple festivals, and then next thing you know, here we are a couple years later, and Pantera's still touring.
Yeah, the money's too good. I guess. Yeah.
Pantera also on the bill.
Yeah, you know what? Like, there's people that throw shade at these bands for doing it, but you know what? If people want to go see them, and if you don't want to go see them, don't go. Like, I remember somebody was saying something about one of the festivals and Slayer playing there, and I just responded, then don't go. If you don't want to see their set, don't see their set. It's like, I don't get why people complain about the stupidest shit. There's 60 freaking bands. If there's one band you don't want to see, then don't see them.
They're jealous.
Yeah, I'm glad I love music. So my complaints are more about like trying to figure out like how many bands you can see physically.
Right?
Like that lineup looks like an absolute marathon. I'm trying to figure out how to make it from one stage to the other.
Well, see, the cool thing about the Danny Wimmer festivals is Danny Wimmer has like kind of taken the template of the European festivals and applied them more here in the U.S. because the U.S. has always been known to be more like a carnival, the festivals, like in the type of food and the way things are laid out and stuff, where Europeans was always like this, like the template for how a festival should be. And I think then you're going to find when you do Louder Than Life and Aftershock that that's kind of what it's like,
Yeah,
stoked.
So we'll have to get together then there as well, and maybe what we can do the Slayer pit together.
Yeah,
hell yeah,
yeah. A lot more likely Aftershock, but hopefully we'll see it Louder Than Life too.
Exactly. Anything else you want to let anybody know before we go?
We didn't drop our socials yet. Do you want to handle that?
Yeah.
Sure. We're on all that shit.
There you go.
We also have a record that we are gonna print more units of. Our first vinyl record. It's a compilation of the first two EPs and singles that we put out until now. It's been sold out for a period of time, but we are definitely going to print more copies of those, so be on the lookout for those.
Nice.
Or just Google teen mortgage, or you can Google teenage mortgage. It'll still come up.
Or team mortgage potentially.
Yeah. Google Kids in the Sandbox.
Yeah. So if there's a social thing that people are on, we're probably on it. Instagram.
We're on RuneScape.
TikTok, yeah.
How about TikTok?
Yeah, we're on TikTok.
Yeah.
So
I post bullshit to TikTok sometimes.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your I don't know, funniest or best or worst TikTok?
I think the best TikTok we just went on tour with this band Deathlands from LA, and we me and the drummer played a game of skate with each other.
Nice.
And that was fun. Yeah, I won. Pretty sick.
What I thought was really cool on your Facebook, and I actually stole it to use for the beginning of this interview, because I always, in the beginning of an interview, I put like the latest video of the band.
Yeah.
And I had pulled up one video, and I'm like, that was cool. But then I saw on your Facebook this video from Punk Rock Bowling, and I thought that was cool as hell. So that's going to be in the beginning of this interview.
Yeah.
When you see it.
I think it's hard to keep track, because I think that's one that someone took, maybe. And then
I
we,
think so. And it was like, I don't know, it had this cool, like, boxes in boxes type of thing. And it starts off with just the noise and then the guitar. And it was from your set, so, but it was like kind of cool the way they did the video.
Oh, was it when we were at the club show?
I think so.
Yeah, that's a really awesome string change is what that is. I think we were changing guitars for like the first minute or so. I was like, oh, they stylized us changing guitars. Okay.
I know, right?
I mean, it's cool to watch it back and be like, oh, it actually does look cool. Like, nice.
It did.
Job fucking succeeded,
There you go. So, well, you guys freaking rocked it at Punk Rock Bowling, and I can't wait to see you at Louder and Aftershock. In the meantime, man, kill it over there with Weezer and Smashing Pumpkins, because that'll be a lot of fun. Everything else you're doing, everybody's got to check out your socials, check out your merch store. They have to buy your merch, or they can't listen to my show anymore, because it's the only way you guys survive nowadays.
It puts gas in the van, so...
That's it. People don't realize, they think, oh, blah, 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 blah. No, this is the only way they get to the next gig, guys. Okay? Buy their shirts.
I don't do the shit because it's lucrative. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, you guys rock, and thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
All right, man. Take care. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.